Thank you so much for joining us. When we're dealing with schools that have been built with inappropriate or incorrect material like asbestos, how big is the problem in Gauteng?
Look, we had over 30 schools. I think there were 31. But now we have 29 because of the newly launched school in Westbury and the one that we're going to launch in a few weeks to come. A school that we are finalizing to build. We have, some organizations that are saying we are not doing enough when coming to, changing the landscape. But we said, among other things, when we roll out our plan, that is 2019-2024, we said we're going to eradicate all the asbestos schools. By 2023, we should be done. But also, we also need to understand that we also need to eradicate mobile schools. We have about 80 of those, which we need to eradicate. But on top of that, we have about 180 schools, which we feel that, according to information at our disposal, they are not appropriately, maintained, and they're about to collapse. Yes, they're about to collapse. So we said we're going to prioritize those, rehabilitate them, and make sure that we have the quality of education that we aspire for, that is safe, and we don't have any other element that will disturb us.
So it doesn't sound like a very small project, and it certainly isn't going to happen overnight. With these asbestos schools specifically, can you talk us through very shortly from what you understand, because I know you're not a construction expert, have these schools, how has the asbestos been used in these schools, and are you able to rehabilitate them, or do the schools need to be thrown flat and rebuilt completely?
No, these need to be abolished. I mean, that's what we will normally say, that we are fixing a moving train, we are fixing the flight that is actually moving. I mean, this is what apartheid did to us, as a country. I mean, how do you justify building using asbestos? Meanwhile, you know that it has a detriment effects in terms of the health of our learners. So that's what apartheid did. But we are undoing, that. And that's why sometimes we, feel very frustrated when people are not patient with what we are doing, because we are doing so much.
I understand the impatience, though, especially if people are saying, please take my child for the day and educate them. You understand the frustration if over X amount of years they themselves know that the schools that their kids have gone to have not been healthy.
No, we are frustrated by people who have a know-how, who are well informed on what is it that we're doing as a department. People like equal education. Equal education, they're grandstanding. When, they came to us and said, look, we've identified 50 schools which we think that your toilets are not up to scratch. We actually went through a program of going into all our toilets in Gauteng. We rehabilitated over 150 of toilets that were not fully functional, that were not adequate. So we normally listen to what they are saying. We work with them. So we fail to understand. After Friday, we have rolled out the 2019-2024 program to say, this is what we're going to be doing. Then they come with a media statement to say, we are not doing enough. That's where we become frustrated, because those are the people that are supposed to be supporting us. They're supposed to be working with us, because they know where we come from. Like as we are saying, this is what apartheid gave us, and we are fixing it. And we're not going to allow a situation whereby we are deterred by anyone.
Because
hence
we
are saying,
all be on the same side, which is on the side of the children who need this the most.
Definitely. If they are saying they are for children, then we are for children actually more than what they think. So hence we are saying we need to work together. Let's not grandstand. Let's not, show that we sometimes don't understand what other people are doing. So we'll call upon, for cooperation and working together. But we're not going to be deterred as the department. We'll make sure that the plan that is there, we actually call upon, parents to access it. It's on our website. Those that feel that they need to make inputs, they can make inputs there. But it's an overhaul when you look at the quality of education that we want to give to our children in Gauteng. I mean, from ECD, from what is happening in the classroom, because, we're introducing school of specializations, we're making sure that the learner with special needs, accessing all the school, we have reduced the waiting list from 5 years to 6 months. So we are doing a lot. So hence we are saying sometimes it becomes unfair to attack us on things that we're actually doing.
Now, speaking of equal education, seeing as you did bring them up, we've been reporting on them protesting outside the National Minister's office today for various things. And one of the things they've brought up is the statement, which I think is the one you're speaking about. The latest annual provincial school infrastructure progress reports are not worth the paper they're written on. They've written here. And they are speaking about, they believe, which is inaccurate information on the implementation of the norms and standards for school infrastructure, which they believe some of the provincial departments have not been pulling up their socks about. And they say here, and I'd like to have your comment on it, because this has been circulating. Gauteng's 2018 provincial report provides no budget information on the replacement of the 29 asbestos schools in the province. Gauteng and the Western Cape have not managed to eradicate their backlogs of schools built from inappropriate material, meaning both provinces failed to comply with the norms and standards deadline of November 2016 and are in breach of the law. Could I have your reaction to
No, I mean, really. These are norms and standards. We crafted the norms and standards. We are responsible for the norms and standards.
So how can we held accountable?
How can we not then conform to what we have crafted? I mean, we make sure that we conform to the norms and standards. Hence, we are saying we've identified those schools a long time ago. It's a matter of how do we utilize budget that we have, because it's not only asbestos schools that we must look at. We must look at the mobile schools that people don't want. Actually, we don't want as well.
And
we
the
must
schools
look
that
at,
don't have correct sanitation services as well.
We need to look at, across the board, everything that we don't need, which hampers our quality of education that we want in Gauteng. So we are actually saying, I mean, we don't know what they are saying. Because what they are mentioning there, it's nothing new. There's nothing new that they're saying there.
I think what they're trying to say in this report, and they don't just speak about Gauteng, they mention quite a few provinces, is that they believe that these provinces aren't keeping track of the progress that they're making. And in some sections, it looks like it was just a copy and paste from one year to the other, which means those numbers are not moving. And indeed, it looks like progress is not being made, which you now say is not true.
No, it's not true. I mean, if they want to interact with us, we are always welcome to interact with them. They can't utilize reports from a distance, copy and paste, and then, popularize themselves. I don't know what is their intention, but we are welcome. They can come to our offices and we'll share information with them. Quality education, it's what we want with them and us. That's what we want. And we'll share information and work with them. If there's anything to be improved, definitely we'll welcome that. That's why we will normally call our stakeholders to come and give us information that is going to assist quality of education. Accessibility as well, that's what, I mean, if we look at our plan, it's quite detailed. We are not focusing on one element. We're focusing on probably 5 elements, which will give you, different priorities, which will then say, we want to really change the quality of education in Gauteng.
One last question before I let you go, because I have run out of time. We've spoken about the material that's been used at schools that need to be completely overhauled because it's been built with the wrong materials. Sanitation. Is there, as you're having an opportunity now to rebuild schools in the correct way, are you able also to look at the layout of these schools so that in the year 2019 it's a little bit more progressive and in keeping with what children need to best develop their whole selves?
Definitely. I mean, if you have an opportunity to see the pictures of the schools that we built, those schools are mistaken for malls. I mean...
is that a good thing?
It's a good thing, because people go there and say, is this a mall? They say, no, this is a school. Then they will then stop to ferry their children to town. I mean, people take their children to town in a dingy place, which was a residential, and there's no playing field there, there's nothing. Actually, they're just ferrying children for dingy, quality of education.
So you want to create an environment where children want to learn?
Definitely. I mean, when you look at our schools, I mean, really you will see that this is the future, and that's what we are doing, because we are, making sure that our schools are E-orientated.
Yes.
We're about, ICT schools, we're about the future, we're about 4th Industrial Revolution. We're not looking backwards. We're not going to be continuing to praise the frog here.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Steve Mabona, spokesperson for the Gauteng Education Department. All the best to you and the work that the Education Department is doing.